kiang NangBhah. The story of kiang NangBhah is more than just the tale of a warrior. It is a chronicle of unwavering courage, sacrifice, and standing up against challenges that seemed too big to overcome. This is the story of a boy who became a legend, a symbol of resistance and a beacon of hope for generations to come. Once upon a time in the region now known as Meghalaya in the Jantia Hills, a child was born who would grow to become a hero whose name would echo through the ages. The village of Tepepale, nestled in the heart of Jowai, was a peaceful place where the people lived in harmony with nature. The year was 1832, and the land was still untouched by the oppressive rule of foreign powers. The boy's name was kiang NangBhah, born to a woman named Karimai NangBhah. From the moment Kiang could walk, he was immersed in the wonders of nature. His mother, Karimai, instilled in him the ways of their ancestors, teaching him the significance of their customs, traditions, and the sacred land they called home. Kiang grew up playing in the fields, climbing the trees, and swimming in the rivers that ran through their village. The air was filled with the sound of laughter, the scent of earth, and the steady rhythm of their simple lives. But all of this was about to change. In 1835, the British arrived in the Jantia Hills, bringing with them the weight of oppression and control. The once free people of Jantia Hills were suddenly subjected to foreign rule. The British introduced new taxes, taking the hard-earned money of the villagers to fund their colonial ambitions. They built a police outpost and a missionary school near the village's sacred cremation ground. This was a holy place for the villagers, and building on it was a sign of great disrespect. One day when kiang NangBhah came back home from the farm, he sat together with his mother near the fireplace, talking to each other, and then his mother told him the story of his uncle, Ukasan Sajar NangBhah. Ukasan had been a brave warrior, one of the leaders who fought fiercely against the British at a place called Chanmersiang. But his efforts were in vain. The British had crushed his resistance, and Ukasan had lost his life in the battle. This loss left a deep scar in Kiang's heart. As his mother spoke of her brother, her voice filled with both sorrow and pride. "Your uncle fought for our land, Kiang. He gave his life for us. We must never forget the sacrifices he has made." That story, filled with both tragedy and valor, planted a seed of hatred deep within Kiang. It was not just the loss of his uncle, but the injustice of it all. The foreign invaders who had come to their land were not just taking their money, they were disrespecting their history, their culture, and their way of life. Kiang swore that he would never forget the sacrifice of his uncle, and that one day he would avenge it. It was late afternoon in the year 1860, when the villagers gathered at the Lumpirdi, at Yalmusnyang, the usual meeting place. A heavy silence hung in the air, as they knew something important was about to unfold. The murmurs of the crowd died down as the Dalai, the village head of Jowai, stepped forward, carrying the weight of the British government's demands. The Dalai Jowai raised his hand, commanding attention. "People of our land," he began, his voice steady but tinged with resignation. "I bring news from the foreign rulers. The British have decided to impose a new tax upon us. A tax on our homes. A house tax, they call it." A gasp ran through the crowd. Whispers flared up, but the Dalai's voice cut through the tension. "They say that for the privilege of living here, every household must pay. The tax is not small. It is enough to feed a family for months." Kiang's heart raced with fury as the injustice burned within him. Thinking how could the Dalais abandon his people and support the British, causing his people to suffer, filled him with a deep anger. He clenched his fists, his mind consumed by the overwhelming unfairness of it all. "Why?" Kiang stood up in anger, stepping forward. "Why must we pay them for living in our own homeland? We've always lived here." The Dalai's face grew stern as he looked at the villagers. His voice was sharp and cold. "We have no say in this, Kiang. The British are in charge now. If we do not pay, there will be punishment." "Punishment?" Kiang's voice trembled with fury. "And what will they do if we refuse? Take our homes? Take our lands? We can't just stand here and let them rob us, Dalai. We cannot." The air around them seemed to thicken with the weight of his words, and the murmurs from the villagers grew louder. Kiang's heart pounded in his chest. He couldn't accept this. He wouldn't. Kiang's mind raced, and in that moment, a plan began to form. He knew it wasn't just about the tax. It was about their dignity, their freedom, their way of life. The British had taken their lands, their traditions, and now their hard-earned money. It was enough. "We shall not pay," Kiang said, his voice strong, a determination rising inside him. "We shall not pay, and we shall not bow to them." The Daloi's eyes widened in shock. "Kiang, think carefully. This will not end well." But Kiang was resolute. "I do not care. I will not stand idly by while they steal from us. We will rise together." The villagers around him, hearing the fire in his words, began to praise him in agreement. The meeting ended with the villagers coming together, not agreeing to pay the house tax. It was a dangerous thing, this defiance, but it was a seed that had been planted, and it would grow no matter the consequences. The British, believing that their message about the house tax had been delivered through the Dalai of Jawai, assumed that everything was in order, and their plans would proceed without resistance. But one fateful day, a tragedy struck the village. The British officers arrived to collect the tax at the home of Laki Perdiang, a poor woman who was still feeding her children. She had nothing to offer, unable to pay the heavy tax. The British officers were enraged by her defiance, and they barged into her house and began ransacking it, throwing her belongings around and disrespecting her sacred space. And since she cannot pay the tax, the British officers took some of her precious belongings as payment for the tax and then left her house. This news reached NangBhah, filling him with anger towards the British. He couldn't understand how, despite the villagers' refusal to accept the tax system, the British still imposed it upon them with such force. In response, a large meeting was held, called the Dorbar of the 12 Dalwa, at Madiak Maiblai, by the banks of the Sintukshire River. However, the Dalai of Jawai did not attend because he knew that Kiang NangBhah, who opposed British rule, was against him because he had chosen to support the British. Despite this, the rest of the Dalai gathered, and it was decided that Kiang NangBhah would lead the resistance against British rule. Kiang NangBhah, a deeply spiritual man, wanted a sign from the gods to confirm his leadership. He accepted the decision of the Dalai but needed divine approval. Standing before the assembly, he spoke with conviction. "I will lead, but I must first seek the gods' blessing. I will dive into the Mindu River. If I return with 3 branches, each with 3 living leaves, I will take it as a sign from the gods that I am meant to lead this fight." The villagers watched in silence as Kiang NangBhah walked to the river's edge. With a deep breath, he plunged into the waters of the Sintukshire. Moments later, he emerged, holding 3 branches, each with 3 fresh living leaves. A cheer erupted from the crowd. The assembly gasped in awe, interpreting the omen as a clear sign from the gods. Kiang NangBhah, with his heart full of resolve, raised the branches high and said, "This is the God's will. I will lead our people to freedom." The villagers, now filled with renewed hope and strength, rallied behind him. The fight against British rule was no longer just a rebellion. It was a sacred cause. That moment marked the beginning of Kiang's rebellion. From that day forward, he wandered the hills and valleys of his homeland, his heart burning with fury. The land of Jawai, the home of his people, would no longer bow to foreign invaders. Kiang's actions did not go unnoticed. Word of his defiance spread quickly throughout the village around Jaintia Hills, and soon he became the symbol of resistance against the British. His leadership was undeniable, and he was soon joined by others who shared his anger. He organized secret meetings with the elders of the village, urging them to rise up against the foreign oppressors. Together, they devised plans to fight back. One night, under the cover of darkness, Kiang and his followers decided to take a bold step. They approached the British police station in Jawai. "Tonight we make them feel the cost of their cruelty," Kiang whispered, his voice fierce and determined. With a swift motion, they emerged from the forest and charged toward the British sentries. The soldiers barely had time to react before arrows rained down upon them. The British soldiers tried to fight back, but their numbers were too few, and the surprise of the attack left them disoriented. They overpowered the guards. In a flash, the station was set ablaze, the flames lighting up the night sky. The villagers of Jowai saw the fire and knew that the rebellion had begun. The fight for freedom was no longer just a dream. It was a reality. After their victory at the outpost, Kiang NangBhah's forces shifted their focus to the British supply lines, aiming to cut off the flow of food, weapons, and ammunition. Under the cover of darkness, they ambushed a British supply convoy, quickly overpowering the guards and seizing vital resources. The rebels destroyed what they couldn't take, setting the supplies on fire and leaving the British without the essentials they needed. This disruption created chaos in the British supply chain, weakening their control in the region and making it harder for them to maintain their presence. Throughout the conflict, Kiang NangBhah used guerrilla tactics, including ambushes, hit-and-run attacks, and surprise raids. These tactics were highly effective in the rugged terrain of the Jaintia Hills, where Kiang's knowledge of the land gave him a strategic advantage over the British forces. Soon the British responded by sending a much larger and more organized troops to suppress the uprising of the Jaintia people under Kiang NangBhah. With the British much stronger and also facing shortage on resources, the Jaintia people had to retreat temporarily. Unable to find Kiang NangBhah, the British decided to use deceitful methods to get what they wanted. They offered a huge reward to Ulong Sukna in exchange for information on Kiang NangBhah's location. Taking this as an opportune moment, Ulong Sukna, along with Yu Tinker, who were key members of NangBhah's team, hatched a plot to capture Kiang NangBhah, knowing that he is sick and weak. They secretly informed about the place of hideout and condition of Kiang NangBhah to the British. Wasting no time, they led the British forces to a village near Umkara, now in Karbi Anglong, Assam, where NangBhah was recovering from an illness. On December 27, 1862, British troops surrounded the hut where NangBhah was resting. Despite his valiant efforts to resist, Kiang NangBhah was captured and taken to Jowai, where he was kept in chains. A British officer offered him a high-ranking position in exchange for his loyalty, promising power and wealth for a lifetime. However, Kiang NangBhah refused, saying he would never serve those who had taken his people's freedom and would rather die. Realizing they could not change his mind, the British decided to sentence Kiang NangBhah to death. However, they feared that the people might grow hostile and rise in rebellion. To prevent this, they planned to execute him quickly, using his death as a warning to instill fear and show the people what would happen to anyone who dared to resist British rule. On December 30, 1862, he was taken to Yamusyang, Jowai, where a large crowd had gathered. British soldiers stood ready, their weapons in hand, watching for any sign of unrest. As the noose was placed around his neck, Kiang looked at his people one last time and spoke his last words firmly. "If my face turns eastwards when I die on the rope, we shall be free again within 100 years. If it turns westwards, we shall be enslaved forever." With those final words, Kiang NangBhah was hanged, his life extinguished. As his head turned eastwards, Kiang NangBhah, words about the fate of their country turned out to be prophetic. In the years following his death, the struggle for freedom continued, with new leaders stepping forward, motivated by the legacy of Kiang NangBhah. The people of Meghalaya fought valiantly in subsequent uprisings. In the year 1947, just 85 years after Kiang NangBhah's prophecy, India finally gained its long-awaited independence. His brave sacrifice, along with the struggles of many others, helped pave the way for the freedom that would follow, fulfilling the vision of a free nation. Though he was gone, his bravery inspired generations, and he remains a symbol of Jaintia resistance against British rule. His sacrifice is still remembered today as a powerful example of courage and patriotism. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new story.